The endless explaining, the constant apologies for things you didn't do, the feeling of being a detective in your own relationship, trying to piece together a truth that keeps changing. You give everything, and somehow you're the one left feeling empty and wrong. Most people think the only way out of this toxic dance is to fight louder or to disappear completely. That's a trap set by the narcissist. 99% will miss the final part, where we decode the internal shift that makes an empath truly invulnerable. To skip this is to risk winning a single battle but losing the war for your soul, leaving you with a mask of strength instead of a genuine, unbreakable shield. Energy exchange. To understand what happens when an empath gets fed up, we have to first geek out on the science of why this pairing is so common and so combustible in the first place. This isn't just about a nice person meeting a mean person. It's a deeply complex and powerful energetic system, almost like a lock and a key. On one side, you have the empath. Let's reframe this. An empath isn't just someone with a lot of feelings. Your highly attuned brain picks up on the massive incongruence between their words, "Of course I love you," and their actions, carelessness, disrespect, cruelty. This creates a state of intense cognitive dissonance, a psychological stress that happens when your beliefs and reality are in conflict. Your brain desperately wants to close this gap. And because the empath's default setting is to absorb and process the emotions of others, you do the one thing that makes the most sense to your wiring. You take responsibility. You think, if they're acting this way, it must be something I'm doing. If I were just calmer, more understanding, more perfect, then the beautiful person I saw at the beginning would come back. You try to fix them, heal them, and love them into health, pouring more and more of your energy into a system that is designed to drain you, not to heal them. This is the tragic, exhausting dance, the awakening. For a long time, the empath lives in a fog of confusion. You see each hurtful incident as an isolated event, an anomaly, a bad day. You make excuses for them. You rationalize their behavior. You are so busy feeling the emotional chaos of the moment that you can't see the cold, hard mathematical reality of the pattern. The fed-up point isn't just a moment of anger. It is a profound, world-altering cognitive shift. It is the moment the empath stops being a participant in the drama and becomes a scientist of it. It is the moment you stop feeling the data and you start seeing the data. This is the awakening, and it is the narcissist's greatest nightmare because it happens silently, on the inside, long before you ever show it on the outside. It is a slow, quiet, and irreversible process of pattern recognition. This awakening is often triggered by what I call emotional exhaustion. Your body starts to keep score. The constant cortisol from the stress, the sleepless nights spent analyzing conversations, the mental gymnastics of trying to predict their moods, it all takes a physical toll. You hit a point where you are too tired to keep making excuses. Your body, in its infinite wisdom, forces your mind to confront the truth because it can no longer sustain the lie. In this state of exhaustion, you start to see the data points not as individual hurts, but as a connected scatterplot that reveals a terrifyingly consistent line. You see that the love bombing phase always leads to a devaluation phase. You see that every big fight is followed by a period of fake remorse designed to pull you back in. You see that the rules are always changing to benefit them. You are no longer looking at the pixels. You are seeing the entire undeniable picture of the idealized devalue discard cycle. Once you see the pattern, you can never ever unsee it. This is the point of no return. It is a moment of excruciating clarity. Every memory you have is suddenly recontextualized. That time they jokingly insulted you in front of your friends, not a joke, it was a public devaluation. That time they were incredibly sweet after a huge fight, not remorse, it was a manipulation to manage their supply. The cognitive dissonance that has been torturing you finally resolves, but in the most painful way possible. You are forced to accept that the person you fell in love with was never real. It was a character, a performance, a meticulously crafted illusion designed to extract your energy. This realization is devastating, but it is also liberating, because in that moment, you stop trying to fix them. You stop hoping they will change. You realize you are not in a relationship with a wounded person. You are in a cage with a predator, and your only goal is no longer to heal them, but to save yourself. This silent awakening is what makes the empath so dangerous in this new phase. The narcissist's entire strategy depends on your emotional reactivity and your predictable patterns of forgiveness and blame taking. They are used to pulling your strings and getting a response. But now, you've seen the strings. You know the whole setup is a puppet show. You may still be in the room, you may still be smiling politely, but you are no longer in the audience. You are backstage, watching the puppeteer with a calm, cold, and terrifying clarity. You are no longer an emotional participant. You have become a behavioral analyst, and you are about to use your superpower of attunement not to connect with them, but to dismantle their entire game, mirror mode. This is where the power dynamic flips so dramatically that the narcissist is left in a state of profound and destabilizing confusion. The fed-up empath's greatest weapon is not anger, not revenge, not screaming. It is a strategic and chilling indifference. You've spent years of your life mirroring their needs, their desires, their emotions. Now you begin to mirror their truth, a fundamental lack of genuine emotional connection. This is the strategy that many call gray rock, but I want to reframe it as mirror mode. You are reflecting back to them the emotional emptiness of their own behavior. You become a perfect, polished mirror, and when they look at you, they see nothing of themselves. No adoration, no anger, no fear. They see a void. And for a narcissist, a void is the most terrifying thing in the world. Let's get tactical on how this works. Your empathic superpower of reading people now becomes your greatest defense. You can anticipate their moves before they make them. You know which comments are designed to provoke you, which stories are designed to elicit sympathy, which compliments are actually backhanded insults. But instead of reacting, you now observe. And you respond in a way that gives them absolutely zero energetic fuel. This means you stop jading, justifying, arguing, defending, or explaining yourself. These are all forms of emotional supply. Instead, you give short, factual, uninteresting answers. They text you a long, dramatic paragraph designed to start a fight. You reply hours later with, okay, or I see. They try to bait you with an insult. You look at them with a calm, slightly bored expression and say, that's an interesting perspective, and then you change the subject. They try to love bomb you after a period of silence. You respond with a polite but emotionally distant, thank you, that's kind of you. This is so devastatingly effective because it short-circuits their entire operating system. A narcissist is like a scientist of human emotion, but they only know how to work with a few variables. They are expecting you to be the fire of anger or the ice of hurt silence. What they are not prepared for is the fog of polite indifference. It doesn't compute. When you don't get angry, they can't call you crazy. When you don't cry, they can't feel powerful. Your lack of reaction makes them feel invisible. It is the ultimate narcissistic injury. They will often escalate their behavior in a desperate attempt to get a reaction, to get any kind of emotional data from you that proves they still have an effect on you. This is called an extinction burst. They will get louder, meaner, or even suddenly much sweeter. But the awakened empath sees this for what it is, not a genuine change, but a desperate series of attempts to plug back into their energy source. And you calmly refuse to provide the electricity. You are no longer a power source. You are an insulator. You are there, but you are not available. This quiet, unbreachable boundary is more powerful than the loudest argument because it comes from a place of deep, internal resolution, not a place of fleeting anger. Power reclaimed. This is the final, most important part of the transformation. This is what makes the change permanent and authentic. The initial phase of mirror mode might feel like an act. You might be internally screaming while you are externally being calm, but this is where the magic happens. All of that energy that you used to spend analyzing them, trying to fix them, reacting to them, and recovering from them is now freed up. You suddenly have a massive surplus of emotional, mental, and physical energy. And the fed-up empath instinctively knows what to do with it. You reinvest it back into yourself. This is the part of the process that makes you truly dangerous to their ego, because this is where you make them irrelevant. You take that reclaimed energy and you pour it back into the parts of your life that have been neglected. You reconnect with the friends you were isolated from. You throw yourself into the hobbies that used to bring you joy. You focus on your career, your health, your own goals. You start rebuilding your own sense of self, a self that is not defined by its relationship to the narcissist. Each time you have a great conversation with a friend, each time you achieve a small goal at work, each time you finish a workout and feel strong in your own body, you are forging a new source of validation. You are building an internal power plant, so you no longer need to get your electricity from an external toxic source. The less you need them for validation, the less their opinion matters. The less their opinion matters, the less their words can hurt you. The indifference that started as a strategy becomes an authentic, peaceful reality. This is the ultimate danger the narcissist never saw coming. They believed your greatest weakness was your empathy, your kindness, your willingness to feel. They never imagined that this very same superpower, when turned inward, could become your greatest source of strength. The fed-up empath's final form is not a bitter, jaded person. It is a wise, discerning person. Your empathy doesn't disappear. It gets a brand new, state-of-the-art security system. You can still feel deeply, connect profoundly, and love fiercely, but you now have an unbreakable boundary, a built-in radar for manipulation and inauthenticity. You no longer see someone's potential, you see their patterns. You no longer listen only to their words, you watch their actions. The very thing they tried to use to destroy you has become the tool of your liberation. They are left confused and powerless, not because you fought them and won, but because you simply turned your attention to a much more interesting, fulfilling, and worthy subject, your own beautiful life. The battle is won not when they finally understand the pain they caused you, because they never will. It is won the moment you realize their understanding is no longer required for your healing. Your power was never theirs to take. It was only ever yours to give away. And now you are finally taking it back. What was the first sign for you that it wasn't a bad day, but a bad pattern? If you feel comfortable, share your moment of clarity below.